The following podcast will contain spoilers, tangents, hot takes, and excessive foul language. Viewer discretion is advised. Enjoy the show.
Welcome back to Frightmares Podcast. I'm your host, Austin Proctor, and joining me today for episode 359 is my good friend, Cory Johnson.
Heyo, everybody. With the power of my will, my ambition, my hot takes, and my comedy, I bind this audience to me.
Ooh, now you're all fucked. Today, on another installment of Hauntuary Manor, we're discussing Deadstream from 2022, a movie that shows us just how deadly a potato gun can be. Let's see where this lands on the Nightmare Index. We've got two movies so far. We've got not The Nesting. The Nesting is in second place, then we have The Haunting in first place. So I think this is going to take the cake. I don't know. We'll see. I'm excited to hear your thoughts, and we'll get into your story about it later because he thought he hadn't seen it, but apparently he has. So it's a fun time. Very excited to talk about Deadstream. Shocker, the first episode we're doing of the year with me and you is a found footage movie. What? Crazy.
Yeah, it's almost like over these years we've established that we kind of like the found footage style.
Just a skosh. And I do think this is a lot of fun. It very much, to me, vibes like Followed, which we talked to the director on that movie, Antoine Lay, which that episode is still up and running. It's like a 3-hour episode. We talked to that man for so fucking long. It was great. He was awesome. But it's very, very similar to Followed in an aspect. And then, of course, very much mirroring Evil Dead as well. But before we do all that, we got to do this. Let's do the cold open. This is where we're going to talk about what we recently watched. I've got a whole bunch of fun stuff, but I figured I'd kick it to you to see what you had been watching lately. Anything good over there?
So the only new movie that I've seen recently, a few days ago, Jessica and I went and saw Primate, and that shit was fucking sick. Like I very much enjoyed that movie. It did have some pitfalls, but overall it was pretty fucking good. I enjoyed my time, and especially because I used a gift card for the movie theater that I found on the floor at work. It was a free movie. So
yeah, that automatically makes the viewing experience even better when it's free. So I'm just so hyped because you, Spencer, and Derek have all, like, Spencer, I know he always sees movies before me, but Derek and you, I was like, wow, okay, I'm the one behind because Derek doesn't have a theater that's close to him, so it's hard for him to see movies. And you kind of, when you go to the movies, is just very random. So I was like, man, I'm seeing it tonight. So my thoughts and feelings on that one will be on the episode with Derek. I'm gonna save it for that one because he wanted to talk about it. But just give me some highlights about things that worked for you.
One of my absolute favorite kills happens within like sub 5 minutes of the movie.
Is that good or bad though?
I'm not sure. So I'm going to go into this just a little bit because I know you and Derek are going to talk about it.
Yeah.
But as we were driving back from the theater, Jessica was like, man, you know what that movie really felt like? And I was like, what? And she was like, that movie where they're in a cage and there are sharks and I'm like 47 meters down. And she's like, yeah. And I was like, huh. I wonder what else the director has done. 47 fucking meters down.
Major
and
facts.
she was like, oh, that makes so much sense because the way the area that they are in, the house that they are in, is laid out is the single most like Hollywood designed house ever. I loved the house. It was amazing. Jessica was like, we could have just watched an hour and 30 minutes of them going around the house and looking out over the pool at the ocean. Like
10 out of 10. I love it.
Oh yeah, it was really great. But yeah, it was a super fun movie. Like I said, some pitfalls, the acting, not great, but I liked the characters. I just didn't like their acting. If that makes any sense.
No, that makes total sense. And with a movie like Primate, where you know it's going to be this killer monkey, I definitely feel like while I would appreciate good acting, I'm not there for the acting. I'm there to see this chimp rip people apart.
Yeah, and that chimp is a fucking war criminal.
What did you say to me? He was a fucking demon in the
that chimp is a demon. Like there are kills where this chimp is like doing it maliciously. Like it's not just like a crazy animal that's gonna kill you and just like rip you to pieces like an animal would.
Right.
Like this chimp has like cognitive thought of how to fuck you up.
Well, and I had told you, is like the movie's already terrifying for me on a level, just because if a chimp wanted to, they could just do that unprovoked, because I mean, they're very territorial animals, but they're just also so strong. So I'm already scared going into this because it's not that far from reality. Obviously, I don't know how malicious they are, but nonetheless, it seems like a horror movie that's tapping into a maybe a possibility of, something that actually could happen.
Yeah, and like the whole setup for how they get to where they are, it really does kind of feel just a little yada yada, like away. Like the setup for how the chimp gets to where it is, it's like 2 minutes of the movie. And that's it.
Fair.
Like you get an awesome kill sub 5 minutes, and then you get like 15, maybe 20 minutes of kind of like setup of who these characters are and what's going on in their life and like why this situation is kind of already bizarre before they get into things. And then the movie just starts happening and it doesn't stop until the end. And by the end, you're like, how did they manage to do all that while still doing nothing?
Well, I love that because it's also 89 minutes. So if you're talking about, about 20 minutes of like kind of the intro exposition, I mean, that only really leaves about 60 minutes without credits. So it's a pretty, I assume the pacing's probably going to be pretty good just because it's not a long movie. But this man's career is fucking wild. So Johannes Roberts, right? He did the sequel to The Strangers, the Prey at Night, which was fine.
No, it was a stinker. That movie fucking sucked.
It was fine. I liked a lot of aspects of it, but it just felt we didn't need it. But then he did Welcome to Raccoon City, which was an absolute stinker. Then he does...
Yeah, but I still liked it.
But then he does 47 Meters Down, a movie that has terrible ratings, but I fucking love 47 Meters Down. He does the sequel, which was terrible. Not a fan of that. And then he did my favorite short from VHS 99, Suicide Bid, where she gets buried in the coffin. And I'm like...
Yeah, that one was really fucking good.
Like, this man's career is wildly all over the place. So, but either way, I'm excited to check out Primate tonight. It's going to be a fun time, I assume. A couple things here for me. I did watch something called Let's Scare Jessica to Death. It very much had a vibe like The Nesting. It was actually something I was going to do on the show, but decided to do The Nesting instead. And I think I missed something with Let's Scare Jessica to Death, because let me put this in perspective. It has a 3.5 out of 5, which is an insane rating. The vibes were there, but it ultimately just underwhelmed me. I gave it 3 stars. I thought it was just okay, but I'm in the minority here. Then I watched something called Beyond the Door 3. And let me tell you, you don't have to watch 1 or 2 to be up to speed in this franchise.
Because that was going to be my next question.
Yeah, so Beyond the Door 1 is an isolated incident. Beyond the Door 2 actually goes by a name called Shock from 1979, I believe, by Mario Bava. Seen that one, wasn't a fan, and then Beyond the Door 3 is this, you will never see what is coming in this movie. It is so fucking bonkers, so 80s, has some of the best practical, not like best in terms of, I mean, the quality is good, don't get me wrong. Best in terms of like, they're going for it. They're having fun. And it's a subversion on a couple of tropes in the 80s. It's actually written by a woman named Sheila Goldberg, who was kind of prominent in the 80s. And this is her only movie where she is the sole writer on, which is pretty, I think that's pretty good, impressive, because women in the 80s not a lot of women were writing movies in the 80s, and what she does with the tropes is a lot of fun. But it is a wacky movie, and I'm not going to say much else about it because it took a turn about 25 minutes in, and then they just stayed with that plot line, and it was beyond insane. Crazy good miniatures, like you can tell they're miniatures, but it has that just 80s charm to it. It is,
you know, I love a good miniature.
Like they cut away and you're like miniature, and then they cut to the people inside of where they are, and you're like, I love this. It was so goddamn good. It has a 3.0 out of 5 on Letterboxd. I gave it a 4. I thought it was a lot of fun. And then for the second week of my cult movie challenge, I watched something called Night Hunter this week, because every week has a prompt. It is Don the Dragon Wilson week. I had never heard of Don the Dragon Wilson, but he is very popular in the kickboxing arena. He's actually quoted as being like the best kickboxer. For example, his record is a 72-5-2, 47 of which were knockouts, and he's done a lot of martial arts movies. And this movie was essentially Blade before Blade, but you have to remember that Blade came out in the 70s and in Marvel canon in the comics. So I don't know if they were intentionally trying to tell a Blade story but not call it Blade, but it wasn't nearly as good as the Blade that would come out in 1998. My fun little theory is Marvel saw that movie and decided to make like, no, this is how you're supposed to do it. Because I mean, Don Wilson is in a black leather like jumpsuit. He's hunting vampires that can go out in the day. I think he's also like a half vampire person. So I'm like, this is Blade, but not Blade. So it was,
and that would be an even better headcanon, because according to lore, the Blade movie is what kind of saved Marvel as a company.
It did, yes.
It revitalized the entire thing, and people were like, oh, maybe we can actually like make Marvel movies. And then of course it caused the end of cinema, but that was way down the line.
Right. Because we wouldn't have what we have now without Blade, but really I know what got people interested in the Marvel, cinematic universe or whatever. Spider-Man is what really gave us what we have today, but we have to recognize that Blade was the saving grace for Marvel and stuff like that. So I thought that was fun. I gave it like a 2.5 out of 5. It wasn't that great. It was entertaining for sure, but not a great movie by any means. Other than that, I have nothing else. So let's roll into the body count. Oh, IMDb roundup time. This is Deadstream from 2022, released on October 6th of that year in the US. It is not rated. This is an independent film, and they rarely are rated. Rarely are rated. That was a hard thing to say. We've got no sex and nudity, severe violence and gore, mild profanity, no alcohol, drugs, and smoking, and severe frightening and intense scenes. Coming in at an hour and 27 minutes, and this is listed as a comedy horror. I believe I was I think it was a conversation I had with you where I think there is a distinct difference between comedy horror and horror
comedy. Yeah, we definitely had that conversation.
Okay, because this is the perfect example of a comedy first that has horror elements, obviously. This was directed by a husband and wife duo, Joseph Winter and Vanessa Winter. They also co-directed the To Hell and Back segment from VHS 99. They also wrote that segment as well. Joseph Winter composed this movie, and he also composed the segment from VHS 99. Same cinematographer on their short from VHS, Jared Cook, edited by Joseph as well. So this man directed, wrote, scored, fucking edited and starred in his own movie. Talk about a jack of all trades.
Well, that's if you want it done right, do it yourself.
You're not
type
wrong.
Of thing.
Yeah. It was also edited too by his wife, Vanessa. So obviously starring Joseph Winter, Sean Ruddy. He was in the To Hell and Back segment in VHS 99 as Troy. We have Melanie Stone as Chrissy. She played Mabel in the To Hell and Back segment from VHS 99. And then we have Jason K. Wixom as Cornerman / Cop Corpse, who has a bunch of credits, but nothing that rings a bell. Estimated budget of NA, couldn't find anything, but it did gross about $1 million when it did have its short theatrical stint. This was filmed in Spanish Forks Sports Park in Utah. So I love the fact that they say this is in Utah and it's actually shot in Utah. Fun stuff there. This is actually streaming on quite a few places. It's on Netflix, Shudder, Tubi, and AMC Plus. So it is pretty readily available. Where did you watch it at?
I think I watched it on Netflix because the AMC Plus app on Roku devices is fucking atrocious.
Oh, is it?
Oh, it's so bad. Number one, it's slow. And number two, like sometimes it just doesn't show you the thing that you're looking for. Like I looked it up. It said it's on AMC Plus. Type in Deadstream on the Roku, nothing come up on AMC Plus. So I'm like, fuck it.
And this is where I get confused because I know AMC Plus and Shudder have some sort of connection, but I don't know exactly when, maybe owned by the same like parent company, because I don't know. A lot of the times if I see AMC Plus, it's also on Shudder, but sometimes they're on either or. So I don't know what the deal is with that, but I thought they were like a conglomerate, but who the fuck knows? What do I know? I'm just some bitch. Movies that came out around the same time. This was a pretty solid year for fucking horror because listen to this shit. We've got Barbarian, the original Finnish, Speak No Evil. I think it was Finnish. Whatever. Not the James McAvoy one, which I still liked. Clerks 3, Pearl, Don't Worry Darling, which I still need to see, Smile, Terrifier 2, Halloween Ends, Black Adam, Pray for the Devil, Tar, and the Banshees of Inisherin with, oh my God, his name is left, Colin Farrell, and the other guy I can't think of right now. That's a pretty solid, I mean, it is October, of course, in 2022, but like a lot of big movies that came out, which was pretty impressive. I didn't get to see this one in theaters. I think I saw it when it went to streaming, which I mean, it's called Deadstream. I feel like you need to just watch it streaming. It just makes it just makes the most sense. So the IMDb summary here: a disgraced internet personality attempts to win back his followers by live streaming one night alone in a haunted house. But when he accidentally upsets a vengeful spirit, his big comeback event becomes a real-time fight for his life. This is Deadstream from 2022. Let's hit the autopsy. Blood and guts in your face. So before we do overall thought, you know what? Real quick, we'll do overall thoughts. So Cory, I'm excited to hear what you thought about this because, and we'll tell your story in just a second, but what do we got? What did you think of this one?
This movie, so I had the very unique experience of being able to rewatch this movie for the first time because I completely forgot that I had seen it before. But this movie, it's so cartoonish in some aspects, and it's so full of heart in other aspects that some of the things that you're like, that kind of sucks. It makes up for it in its earnest and its candor with what it's doing. Like Mildred, her makeup is so shitty.
Oh, you didn't like the makeup?
No, I did not like the makeup.
Oh.
But we will get to it later. She provides probably my favorite scare of the entire movie.
Okay.
And it is the most inconsequential scare probably of the entire movie. But God damn it, I love it so much.
All right. Okay. Overall thoughts for me is, while this does have a great score on Letterboxd, I do think it is an incredibly underappreciated film that feels like Grave Encounters meets Followed meets Evil Dead mashed together. It is a perfect pairing of comedy and horror, all told through my favorite lens and your favorite lens of the found footage style. So yeah, I originally had chosen you for this episode because you were like, no, I haven't seen that one. And I was like, it's just like, really? I feel like this is one that would have come across your radar. So then you were watching it and you were texting me and you were like, I've definitely seen this movie.
Well, and see, so here's what got me thinking that no, I truly have seen this movie, because I would say 7 out of 10 times Jessica will sit and watch the movie with me. Some of them she's just like, no, I have no interest in that. Have fun.
Yeah.
Do your show. But this one, she was like, okay, that sounds interesting. So we're watching the movie and she's like, so in this movie, does this thing happen? And I'm like, well, I haven't seen this movie, but what you're saying sounds like Grave Encounters. And she goes, okay. And then like 10, 15 minutes goes by and she's like, okay, but what about this thing happening? And I'm like, oh, no. That happens in the Blair Witch Project. And she's like, and we keep going on. And then Chrissy finally appears in the movie. And I'm like, oh no, I truly have seen this movie. Thank you for making me actually think about it. Because otherwise, I mean, because that's like almost the halfway point of the movie, kind of, because this movie's quick. So like I got halfway through the movie before my partner made me realize that, yes, not only have I seen this movie before, but she has seen this movie before with me.
Oh, that's hilarious. So yeah,
because way back when we first got together, we went through this period of like 4 months where the only movies we watched were found footage horror movies. So like it got lost in the stream somewhere and I just completely forgot about it.
No, that's fair. I mean, there's plenty of times where I will recognize like a poster or something like that, and like, yeah, this looks vaguely familiar. Maybe I didn't log it on Letterboxd or something. So, and then I'll turn it on, and sure enough, I've seen this movie. So I don't think it was a forgettable movie that you didn't remember. It was just, I watched this in a time where I was watching so much shit, like you said, lost in the sauce.
It's not a forgettable movie. And now that I've seen it for a second time, like this, it will probably make its way into the rotation again at some point.
Okay. So so as we've discussed with movies like The Visit, when we did that last year, I love the found footage style, mockumentary style, because it is so easy to set up the premise of your fucking movie. And this is no exception. And the first words out of Sean Ruddy's mouth is, I'm a piece of trash, and then he hops in a trash can. I already knew the vibe I was getting into with a YouTube personality calling himself a piece of trash and then cutting to a montage of him doing all this wacky stuff. And while at this point, to me, the found footage kind of content creation style movie is lost on me at this point. I feel like we're hitting, and it hasn't even been around that long. I think Followed was really the kind of the first one to do that. I'm kind of over the YouTuber making a movie, but this hit me at a time where I was like, this is exactly what I need. This is going to be great. And he sets it up. I mean, he tells the camera, I had problems and I got canceled for this and that. And now I got sponsorships back. So we're going to do one last live stream. And, he made an apology video and all this stuff. So you're like, 5 minutes in, okay, I know exactly what's going on. So how did that setup and execution work for the setup of the movie work for you?
So I really enjoyed it because to me, like, I am old enough to be at a point where I remember OG YouTube.
Oh yeah.
And like, I watched the come up to where it is currently now. Mm-hmm. And it was really funny because there's a certain age in the YouTube space that it was just like people being overtly casually racist and like going out and not committing crimes for crime's sake like people do now on YouTube and stuff, but like committing crimes because they're genuinely ignorant people and don't know that what they're doing is like socially frowned upon.
Right.
And all the things that made YouTube kind of the Wild West of the internet for a little bit. And it is now since a bygone era, and YouTube has become so corporatized. Like, you can find 5 people all with the exact same format and style of video, just talking about different subjects in the same vein of interest. And they all look the same, and it's a formula now.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas back then it was like, yo, let's break into this fucking house and see what we can see. Or let's go like poke homeless people with sticks and see what happens. And we'll just put it on the internet. Nobody was making money off of it yet. It was all just, I want to do stupid shit on the internet for strangers.
Yeah, I mean, this was
that's
before...
what this movie felt like to me. It felt like 2007 YouTube.
The golden era of YouTube, because I mean, yeah, at that point we didn't have Vine, we didn't have TikTok. I genuinely don't know if Instagram was around in 2007. I know Facebook was later 2000s, around that time, so it's entirely possible Instagram was there, but we didn't have Reels, we didn't have any of that shit. And I do agree with you, it feels just like that. And the fact that his whole reason for kind of being canceled was it was a bum fight, and I'm like, I remember those bum fight videos, like those were huge.
I owned those VHS tapes.
See, exactly. So it felt relatable to me because I remember seeing those. And it was just kind of a funny point of how he got canceled. And they reveal more along, you know, as the movie goes along, like he didn't know he was sick or something like that or whatever. But I just love it. The setup is great. And by the time, I mean, you get to the house very quickly, and he spends most of the runtime in that house. And you got to remember, it's about 87 minutes, so it's not very long. It doesn't overstay its welcome. But a lot of the movie is in that house. It's all filmed in a literal abandoned house in the, whatever I said, Utah Forks area. So he's just a jackass with a YouTube, and he plays that internet personality so well to where I hate him, but he's also making me laugh. It's like he is the complete polar opposite of that terrible character I hated from Dashcam, Annie. She was a miserable piece of shit who was just, she was annoying to the point of like, wow, I cannot stand you because you're a terrible person. I feel like there is a good person somewhere down in Sean Ruddy. I'm going to use this phrase again, but he got lost in the sauce along the way. And I do feel like he wants to genuinely apologize and get his followers back. But he plays the character of like, God, you're so insufferable, but you're still making me laugh. And all of his reactions to things, in my opinion, were hilarious because it also reminded me of my very good friend, Will. This is Will. If he went in and did this exact same thing, this would be his reactions. The high-pitched screaming, the manic energy. He plays this character so well. And I want to know what you thought of it. Like, did you kind of have the same vibe, or did you find his character just plain annoying?
So it's kind of split a little bit because I don't think the movie would have worked on a comedy level if he wasn't doing what he was doing.
Right.
But also, as much as I try not to be, I can sometimes be very judgy just by looking at people.
Right.
And looking at this guy, I'm like, man, this is a huge put on for you. Like you off camera, you're not this guy. And like, I am accidentally seeing through the character to the man that is writing the character, because nobody who acts like that can write that.
Right.
Like that is purely a put on. And it took me out of it ever so slightly because I'm like, you as this character, it like you as a person and you as this character don't match, and I can kind of feel that energy. And I'm going to do a hot take a little bit early.
Just go for it.
Just because I've been watching a lot of the Fallout show, and I didn't realize that one of the characters I see on TikTok all the time, Johnny Pemberton, I feel like he would have been the perfect cast person for this.
Okay.
Because I feel like Sean Ruddy should have been a little smaller, a little bit more snively for his character to work as it does.
Okay.
Like I feel like he's too, I mean, it adds to the comedy for this character to be kind of a bigger person, seems fairly tall, and him to be such a wuss. Yeah, that makes sense as on a comedy level, but I also feel like having a smaller, like not necessarily meek, but like awkward and snively would give the character a little bit more
edge
or more rounding.
Okay.
Because like I said, I feel like with this character, his size, the way he looks, his actions are a little bit more of a put on. And I get it. It's a live stream, supposed to be entertainment. But like you said, I feel like it gets just a smidgen lost in the sauce.
Yeah. And I think, though, even with that performance, it's something that's really hard to do, because a lot of the complaints I've been reading and the reviews are, oh, he's just insufferable. It's like, yeah, but that's the bit. I don't know if people understand. It's like that's the whole thing. He is
it's satire on satire.
Right. He is kind of making a mockery of these types of YouTubers who are like, how do you have all these views? I don't get it. I can't watch any of this. So I think do I think someone could have maybe added a little bit different, flavor to it? Sure. But for the purposes of this movie, I do really like his character. Because again, you're making me laugh hysterically, but I kind of think you're a douchebag. So,
100%.
Something else I really loved in the opening of the movie is text on screen, baby. We talk about this all the time. And I was fucking wheezing at this moment, because it has your standard text on screen. It's like, this footage was recovered and Sean Ruddy is still missing. But then all of a sudden the text starts backing away from the camera, and I was like, what the hell? And then he pulls it down. It's a shirt. He's like, these shirts will be available for sale. And I'm like, to me, that was so goddamn hilarious, just because of, I love the text on screen, but it was a fucking t-shirt. I loved that.
And see, for me, it wasn't so much a funny thing as a, God damn it, now I want that on some of my, I want that for some of my favorite movies. Like, give me the Blair Witch opening with that on a shirt. Like, that'd be fucking phenomenal. Like, damn it, I'm angry now that is not an actual product that I can have.
Honestly, I will check while we are talking about the movie and see if maybe he honestly, knowing him, he might actually have that up for sale on a website, which I wouldn't be surprised.
No, because that's an awesome, and what's funny about the character is, as dumb as the character is, in the context of what he's doing, he's a fucking marketing genius.
100%. I couldn't agree more. And that's what I think his characters, it has so many layers in one regard, but then on the other hand, it's like he feels so surface level human being, but he also does just feel like this genius who knows how to get the numbers and get monetized. I don't know. His character is so interesting. And of course, he's the main character, really the only person we see outside of Chrissy, who shows up later. And I think this is an incredible feat to do all of this background work and editing and composing, and also star in the movie and direct the movie. And it's basically him for 90% of the movie. It's incredible that he did all of this. He must be fucking exhausted after doing all this. Now, of course, I did watch the Blu-ray I have. It's a steelbook that I got from Amazon. Has some incredible special features that I actually wasn't anticipating for an indie movie like this to have. You've got a commentary, of course. You have monsters and makeup, which I did watch, and they told us how everything on screen is practical. Every monster you see was made practically. They have
and see, that's, you can definitely tell Like, and I feel like that's where most of the budget went, was making the actual monsters, which is why like Mildred suffered a little bit. Or like that potato gun scene had to be fucking expensive.
Right.
Like that's a lot of practical effects to be using. So yeah, like white makeup and like, let's throw some coffee grounds in her teeth, dress her up like an old lady.
So they did say in that special feature that they were it was an ode to 80s effects. I don't know if that maybe will sway your opinions, but they were trying their best to recreate kind of the things that scared them as kids. Like the corner man was actually a completely original idea by one of the makeup artists there. They just said, make a creepy face, and she just made this thing. But I think it's really cool that everything was practical. Now, I obviously think there might have been some digital alteration for the shadow that they did when they play the live stream back and he sees that shadow walk in, but all of the monsters you see on screen are practical. They have the cameras and lighting of Deadstream, sound design, and then they have fucking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 deleted scenes. So honestly, if you like physical media and you want to get the Blu-ray, this thing is fucking stacked with special features, and it's really cool to get that peek behind the curtain and see how this was done, because it is all done from GoPros, which is not easy to do shooting wise because all of them are connected to his tablet. And that's kind of how everyone was seeing his point of view, that were, you know, because obviously he's directing the movie, but you have to have someone watching the screen if you're acting and directing to make sure you're getting the right shot, the cinematographer. So they ran into some issues there because there was a little bit of a delay here and there because they were using wireless GoPros hooked up to an iPad. So it's incredible that this movie even got made, just because of how they had to shoot it, because everything, I think he might have one real camera in his hand, but most of it is GoPros. That must have been a nightmare. I'm just like, I couldn't imagine trying to shoot an entire movie with like all those different angles and keeping continuity up like that. It must have been extremely difficult, but
yeah, so far the only other director that we know of that has done something like that and to nowhere near as high quality is fucking Nigel.
Oh yeah, good Lord. That man is still making movies and it's crazy.
And now he's asking for donations, and if you donate a certain amount, you can send him in a headshot or a picture of your animal, and he will put it on the wall to be in the next movie.
Oh my God. Oh, Nigel. We interviewed him as well back on like episode 37. He was a hoot to talk to. So this movie, man, Deadstream, good. It's so much fun. I love the house. I think the location is great. It gives Evil Dead vibes, but just much more modern because it's a more modern. Actually, the house I think it was from the 70s or 80s or something like that. But it's just this derelict, dilapidated house. I think it was called like Death Manor or something like that. That's what he dubbed it, I think, which is a lot of fun. And what's really great is nothing really happens for a while. He's just kind of going around reacting to all of this stuff. And then eventually once you see that replay of the shadow walking, that's when everything kind of takes off. But I feel the pacing was pretty good for, especially since it was 87 minutes. I'd love to hear your kind of thoughts on the pacing on the movie itself and how, like, you know, were you with it the whole time or did some elements kind of take you out here and there?
So I wouldn't say I was ever like taken out. I do. And again, I get it for the context of the character in the world of the movie that he's in.
Yeah.
But the first little bit is a little time wasty. Okay. And, you know, to get it to be a feature length, like if you just get the intro where he's back in the shirt up and then he's like, boom, in the house. Yeah, you get like a 65-minute movie.
Right.
And it makes it a little bit more difficult. So I get it. I wish they didn't waste as much time. Like once he gets into the house, I'm fine with him fucking around and running away from things that aren't there and like poking old dolls and shit. Like that's all right. but like get us to the house just a little bit quicker.
Okay.
And I know it happens quick, but like just a scotch.
Yeah, I mean, pacing and editing is extremely important, but I do love the story he gives us about the house. But I mean, who the fuck knows if it's actually true? He's kind of an unreliable narrator, although I do enjoy the backstory that he provides. It's a lot of fun. And they also have that, did they call it a talisman? The thing that was protecting the house from the evil?
A hamsa.
Hamsta, that was really cool. I liked that addition and how, since he broke it, he had people on the internet trying to figure it out, and then, you know, someone sends him a video of how to make a new one. Of course, that doesn't work in the end because I'm pretty sure he dies because the camera just cut. But the lore and the story building was a lot of fun. Whether it was true or not, or he was making it up, you know, I'm assuming it was true based on the events that happened, but it was just a little extra flair to the movie I didn't think we were going to get. I just thought it was going to be, oh, this house just happens to be haunted, but there's these little touches here and there that I feel really add to the storytelling aspect of this movie, because while it did feel familiar in a sense, a la Evil Dead, of course, I think that's its biggest inspiration, it felt fresh at the same time. And like I mentioned before, Followed, Dash Cam, similar. I would say Followed is the most similar movie to this because they actually go and investigate a real, I mean, they didn't film inside the haunted Cecil Hotel, but they have exterior shots of it. And
damn sure if they didn't try, though.
Yeah, and you can listen to that on that episode. But it very much vibes like that because they're going to this place that's assumed to be haunted and actually encountering haunted things. Where in the inverse, Grave Encounters is faking everything, and then they run into some real shit as well. But yeah, I just think the storytelling of this is very strong. I think the acting is strong as well. There's obviously no real score because it is a found footage live stream type movie, but
except for his little tape recorder that he's got.
That's what I was gonna say. I loved how they actually were able to add in that was a very clever way to add in additional sounds that would be technically done in post, but he played his spooky music at one point, and then I think he had like an 80s synthy song at one. So I was like, that's a fun way to add a score to a movie and have it actually make sense. And a lot of the tropes that you find in found footage movies, there are some here, of course, but you don't hear stop recording. Oh wait, why are we recording this? It's a live stream. So they found a fun way to like kind of steer around some of the familiar tropes we're used to in these types of movies, because that's the whole reason he's there. He's live streaming. Why would you stop streaming anything, especially when shit got real? So
well, and it's funny that you say that because I kind of sort of disagree.
Oh, interesting.
Because I feel like the chat section is what is supplying those tropes, which is why it feels fresh.
Okay.
Because some of them are like, oh, I wish he would just die so we could get this over with. Like that's a stop recording. Or the ghost is behind you, instead of the person holding the camera to their face and seeing the thing rise from behind them, which would normally be the trope. It's now people informing, oh, there's something going on. So it's a fresh take on the tropes.
Okay.
I know probably like most people, they won't even read the little chat that's going on. They probably think it's just nonsense to fill out the theme of what's going on. But when you actually read it, you're like, oh, they're supplying the tropes there. It's just completely quote unquote unspoken.
That's true. I didn't think about it in that way, but you're totally right. So while they're technically avoiding them in the sense of who's recording and who's on screen, they are kind of provided there in the text. And I read as much as I can. They do kind of go quickly. But on that, since you brought that up, I'm glad that wasn't there the entire time, because I feel like there was a movie, I think it was Dashcam, where the chat was constantly there the entire movie. I feel like it was, but I can't remember. But there was another movie that had chat on, right?
Was it what?
Right? There was another.
Was it one of the unfriended ones the dark web one where it's like all the friends and then the guy comes in, like the dark web guy comes in and he starts making them do shit?
Well, so I know on those movies, the person, since it's like an entity or whatever, is typing what they want to do. But I swear there was another movie that was being live streamed, and
it's VHS Viral, the one with the ice cream truck.
Oh, really?
It's the in between scenes where they're doing the where they're chasing the ice cream truck. It's the wraparound story.
Huh, okay.
I think that's it.
Okay, yeah. Well,
because that one is fucking terrible.
Yeah, it's not great. But I'm glad in this movie that they popped up, provided some comic relief, Sean reacted to them, and then they went away. It was a good idea to not keep them up the entire time because that would have been hella distracting and it would have taken away from what was on screen. So yeah. I do like the addition, I think, because it does give it that live stream feel, of course. But having them up there the entire time would have been a misstep, in my opinion. Another thing that was great, obviously, was the addition of Chrissy. The idea of this super fan that tracks him down and wants to help out in the ghost investigation is hilarious. As much as I love Sean's character, I feel like it was necessary to have the dynamic changed up a bit because now he's thrown off. You can kind of see how annoyed he is at how excited she is to be there because he's like, all right, I guess. And she's like, well, let's do a poll. Do you want Chrissy to stay? And it's like unanimous that he's like, all right, well, I guess I'll give you a GoPro. And so she gets the Mildred cam. And then you get so many other funny cams throughout the movie. You get the beef stick cam. You get all these funny other cams. I can't remember. Mill dead cam. It's so funny. So
spear cam,
that was another one. I thought that was a lot of fun too. Like, this guy is being chased down by actual entities and demons and ghosts, but he's still taking the time to name the cameras funny things. It's just something that hit me like with belly laughs every time because it's like you are focused on the incorrect thing at this point in time. So let's see here. So about Sean's reactions, because I know that's a hot kind of button issue for people and why they didn't like it, and the screaming and the yelling. Is that something that got tiring to you throughout the course of the movie? Because I do feel at some points I was like, all right, but other points, the pitch and the tone of his scream, it just was funny to me. I don't know.
So when he was purely and simply running away and screaming, I'm like, all right, this is fucking dumb. Okay. But when he runs and then hides under what I can only describe as a blanket that has smallpox and mold and like the nastiest of blankets, hiding under that, hilarious. Screaming, running, jumping out the window, absolutely fucking comic gold. Or when he's like running and hiding, but when he's just like running down the hallway screaming and then he closes the door and like sits down behind the door, no, because he does that a lot.
Yeah, right.
That kind of gets annoying. But when it's accompanied with some other type of comedic shtick, I'm like, all right, this is fucking hilarious. Like, yeah, like that's what it should be every time. And I get it. It's not a big house and you can only think of so many funny ways to run around before you have to start putting like yakety sacks on it. And making it like a 1950s Scooby-Doo chase scene.
Yeah, and it's like I don't know exactly what I find so funny about Sean. I don't know if it's what he's actually saying, how he's saying it. Is he unintentionally funny? Is he saying just the most out-of-pocket shit? I don't know what it is about his character and his delivery and the screaming, but I don't know. For me, it just works on every level. At some points, I agree with you. You're like, all right, maybe this is a little much, but I can't put a finger on why exactly his character to me is just so goddamn hilarious. He just feels real. I don't know.
I think part of it is because for the most part, like, yes, we know it's a movie. We know it's acted. This is not an actual live stream. Everything is made up, but everything feels unintentional.
Okay.
Like it. So in the same vein as the Blackwell Ghost series, everything seems so intentional that it couldn't be made up.
Right.
This feels so unintentional that it couldn't be made up. Like the level of absurdity is so high that you're like, well, obviously this fuckhead got himself into some shit. Like, so it gives it that human level. Like, it surpasses the barrier of like willful disbelief into, okay, I believe this now because it's so absurd.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, the level of absurdity is up there. And for me, it's just, I enjoy the entire ride. I'll get to the ending here in a bit, but I know one point I wanted to hit on, especially since we're talking about Sean and just how he is as a person and his reactions. So he apologizes for his past stunt in the video, but then he apologizes again. Now, do we believe him? Do we think he's being genuine? Because I honestly don't know. Part of me wants to believe that he's learned, he's grown from this, but then he dedicates the streams to, quote, the blacks and the Mexicans. And I'm like, yeah, you were so close to having me, but I don't know if he's actually sincere or if he's just so ignorant to, I don't know. What do you think about his apology?
No, he is tone deaf.
That's it.
Manifest.
That's
he is
it.
tone deaf manifest. And speaking of the apology thing, now I feel like the impact of the quote real apology and then the very quick accidental backtrack that he does, I feel like if they would have done that and then revealed that he did an apology video, it would have snapped a little bit harder instead of just being like, oh, somebody wrote that. Like,
yeah,
it like, I understand it was supposed to be funny, but it was more like it wasn't even shocking. It was just like, oh, that doesn't sit right.
Yeah, it's like, well, you almost did it until you dedicated it to two very specific groups of people, which we don't really know the context exactly on the bum fight that he did. I have no idea. We don't know the ethnicity of that person, so it just felt so out of pocket to dedicate it to, quote, the blacks and the not black people in Mexico, just the blacks. Like, that doesn't sit right with me.
No. And even as like a written joke that was supposed to come off, I was like that. And I get it. It's supposed to be tone deaf, but it came across as like actually tone deaf.
Right. And I don't think that's the intention that they had behind it, because that's just not the vibe I get from them after, watching special features and watching them talk. They seem like very like level-headed, down-to-earth people. So I think it might have just been an attempt to say something so out of pocket to be like, to make people go, oh, wow, okay, buddy. But I was like, man, that's kind of that was like the only thing to me that just didn't fit within the movie. Everything else was pretty cohesive, and then that line sticks out so much.
It's like South Park can make that joke because that is the standard that South Park has set.
They're established.
This movie did not set us, like, there was nothing that implied up to that point that he might have been racist or done like actual racist things.
Yeah.
So then that comes up and you're like, wait, have I been laughing at like semi-racist this entire time?
Right.
Like, it kind of made me change how I thought about the character as a whole for a little bit. And then they kind of moved on from it. And I was like, okay, no, that was just a bad joke.
Right.
That was just a poorly written, poorly executed joke.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with that. But yeah, so other than that small kind of weird thing, I think everything else is pretty cohesive, and it has your look, sound, and imagery wise, it has your pretty average standard found footage style, but it's all crystal clear. They're all GoPros, the multiple cameras. I loved the iPad that he can connect all his stuff to, and the duct tape, he would just duct tape him to the wall. That was a great bit. We already talked about the comments, but there was one shot specifically I wanted to highlight, which I found extremely impressive given the medium that they were using and how the shot was actually done. So when Sean is trying to kind of sweep or sneak by the hanging lady that he sees on his iPad, he brings the iPad up and sees the hanging lady there and then pulls the iPad down and she's gone. Obviously, I'm sure there was some digital alteration with the iPad screen, but watching that go up and down, I thought that was an incredibly edited, like very well edited scene that I didn't expect from a movie like this.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. I feel like you just do the scene twice, like exactly the same twice, one without Mildred, one with Mildred, and every time the iPad goes up is just when you cut them together.
Yeah, you can do like a blur cut kind of thing.
The one that I found super impressive because it was so simple, and this is my favorite scare of the entire movie.
Perfect.
It's at the point where Sean is running around and he's like trying to antagonize Mildred,
right?
And he's downstairs and he's like, Mildred, come out, Mildred, where are you? And then you see this like hole in the ceiling and just her feet are going up. Oh. And I'm like, ew. It was so, like it gave me the chills because I'm like, it's not even her whole body. You just see her feet raise and they're like, and then they're gone. And then she's not around for like the next 2 minutes, but it's just like, oh, that's so spooky.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. I always forget it. I've seen this movie like 3 or 4 times, I think, and I always forget about that scare. And it's so quick. It's kind of hard to miss, but I mean, if you look away for a second, you'll miss it. But yeah, just legs going up every time. Same reaction. I'm like, no, ew, no, thank you at this at all. It's a very not easy scare, but it's like a very, I don't know, not like a cheap scare. It's just something that's so simple, but it's so goddamn effective because like this did not seem like it had a big crew of people. I want to know, because like it looks like something from above is pulling like a dummy up or something. It doesn't look like it's just CG legs floating up into the ceiling and disappearing. They did
it looks like they're pulling her through the floor.
They were.
And I want to know who he enlisted and how. Like, did they cut a hole in this floor to be like, all right, we're gonna pull you through this?
I can't give you every detail, but I know in some of the special features, they had some sort of a pulley system for that, where they hooked it to the like rafters in the roof, and basically what they did is they had a harness on her and they just pulled her up from like that, that's
crazy.
It's insane. So there's some really good scares outside of the issue you have with Mildred, which I can understand. A lot of the monsters, though, that are in there, I think look pretty practically great. The head explosion was fantastic. It was goopy. It was gross. It got all over Sean. I thought that was great. And then
it because of the color of what landed on his face, Jessica like physically and audibly gagged multiple times.
Yeah, it was like a mayonnaise kind of yellowy. It was not something I want anywhere near.
It was sick mayonnaise.
It was like sick mayonnaise. It was like, yeah, that mayonnaise you need to throw out. And there's a couple other fun additions to the story. You know, a cop shows up at one point and then he gets turned in. I mean, I guess are we demons at this point? Are we ghosts?
Well, okay, so here's what I want to know.
Okay.
Because both ghosts and demons in basically every movie I've ever seen, they generally either stick with what they died in, mm-hmm. or there's some kind of disgusto flesh monster.
Right.
A la Wreck and Quarantine. Like, yeah, they'll have on like underwear, but it's like some disgusting old flesh monster. When did demons and ghosts get the powers of costume change?
Yeah, true.
Because like Chrissy shows up in modern clothing, like looking like a 21st century woman.
Right.
If this ghost is trapped in this house, how does she know what a 20, 30 something year old woman would wear.
Yeah, that's where
how does the sheriff know what a modern sheriff's uniform looks like?
Yeah, that's where I'm a little confused on kind of like the lore about it and what exactly these things are. I know he broke the thing, and that's kind of what started all of this. But yeah, I was a little confused with some of it. I don't think that's necessarily a fault on the writing itself, but it is a question that I absolutely have. And if I ever got a chance to talk to him, it would be something like, can you kind of just break down the ghosts versus demons and kind of how they progressed throughout the film?
Why do all the monsters stay looking like whatever time period correct monster they are, but the two like sentient ghosts can like actually trick you?
Yeah, it was interesting. So it kind of made me wonder if it was demonic or ghostly, because I feel like those things are kind of like tangential, but like also that I feel like they're wildly different. I will say though, that cop, for about 5 seconds, I said, is that Sam Elliott? Like the fucking...
Well, and it's funny because we had just finished watching an episode of season 2 of Landman, and Sam Elliott is like pretty prominent in this season of Landman.
Oh shit!
So we were both like, wait, is that Sam Elliott? And I was like, no, he does not sound like Sam Elliott at all.
Yeah, did they get Sam Elliott for this? So my biggest takeaway from this, kind of combined with what I think the core fear of the movie is like, you really have to be careful about what you put on the internet, especially these days, just because people can take it a whole bunch of different ways and it might end up getting you canceled. But what the fear in this movie is, besides ghosts and demons, is I feel like this movie is a commentary on the fear of not being liked by the general population, because that is a fear that a lot of content creators have. Like, you put yourself out there, if people don't like you, I feel like that's a form of rejection. So for me, this kind of fear of rejection by people you don't know just seems to hurt. That's kind of my take on it, because he's trying to regain his momentum, his popularity, by doing this thing again, because he was rejected. And I'm sure that does not feel good to be rejected by your viewers. You know what I mean?
And see, my takeaway would be like, it's more of a don't compromise yourself for money,
that too,
type of situation. Like it's more of an anti-internet capitalist, like all these people doing all this stuff that they would never do if it wasn't for a camera and money being given to them. Like, a general person is not going to go out and fight a homeless man just because they think it's funny. But if you have a camera and like every click you get, $1. Yeah, I'll fight a homeless man for $1 million. Yeah, why not?
That kind of can go hand in hand with mine, because it's like, if you don't do this thing, oh, well, we'll just unsubscribe or whatever. It's like the internet can egg you on to do things that you wouldn't necessarily have done had you not had the following. So it's I think it's a commentary on just social media in general and YouTubers and stuff like that. But that was kind of my takeaway. I did want to mention the ending real quick, just because it was strange. I do feel it totally tracks with what was set up, but it is kind of an abrupt ending. It just kind of stops. He goes to exit the door, there's a monster there, end of live stream. I don't know if, and like the shirt he was holding up about, oh, this is the footage we got and he's gone missing. It's kind of like foreshadowing, but I don't know. It makes sense because it was a live stream, and if you got attacked, it could have ended, but I don't know. I want to know your thoughts on how the abrupt ending hit you.
I mean, it made sense. It did slightly feel like, okay, I'm out of ideas.
Right.
Especially with how they, like, he binds the spirits to himself, and it turns out like that's what kept Mildred there. And now, like, he's the tortured soul of the house.
Right.
Like, I feel like they could have expanded on that a little bit for like 2 more minutes.
Yeah.
And then kind of wrapped it up, and it would have still made perfect sense. But I do feel that the way it ended, it just kind of cut it. It makes sense.
Right.
If nothing else, it makes sense. Otherwise, like, this would have just had to have kept going. And, maybe he gets out and goes home and goes, well, that's it, everybody.
Right.
Up. Like,
yeah. Boop. So, yeah.
It can really only kind of end with the live stream just getting cut. And, maybe he's fully dead. Maybe he's not. And he got away and he just went, yeah, this ain't for me no more. I'm fucking done. Like, I don't need to pick up a camera anymore. It's not totally ambiguous, but it's like just ambiguous enough. Just enough.
That's where I am at. It leaves it open to the possibility that, yeah, he's probably dead, but it just cuts. We don't see what happens afterwards. So I think it fits. I think it makes sense. It works. But part of me just wanted some sort of just different variation on it. That's all I have. I don't know if you wanted to hit anything else here, kind of wrapping up, but
one of my biggest issues involves the chat and how people are like chiming in and everything. Everybody's like, oh, this Hamza, this thing, like it's a spell to ward off evil and blah, 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 blah. But then nobody mentions that this man proves the existence of hell by sending Mildred down through it. A literal drag me to hell fiery pit on the train tracks opens up and drags this woman down and then burps her out. And nobody says anything about it. Like, we have now proved ghosts, demons, and hell are real. Nothing?
Yeah, it makes me wonder if people were skeptical about what was actually going on, if this was all set up, because that's kind of another, I don't know about headcanon, but another theory that I have is as much as I want to believe this was all real, this could have entirely been put on by him that he did. And, I don't know. There's a couple.
See, and I don't think his character is smart enough for that.
I don't think so either. But we also touched on the fact that we feel like he's a marketing genius. And this would be the ultimate marketing scheme because he had like 3.2 million views at one point. I don't know. It's very loose. And I don't think that's what's going on. It just kind of came to me at the end of this watch. I was like, what if he just made all of this shit up? That would be pretty cool. Because it's hard to deny that he really didn't kill someone with a potato gun. That was a really cool kill. The potato going straight.
It was a fun kill.
It was a great kill. Unless you have anything else, I'll give my review I would have written if I didn't shamelessly plug my own show on Letterboxd.
Nope, I'm good.
All right. So, obviously this would have been if he survived the experience that we don't know of, but my review would be, I don't know about you, but I would get tested for literally everything after this experience because so many fluids have been on this man.
Yeah, and you're getting old-timey diseases from that house. You're getting like typhus.
Fucking polio or some shit. Like, goddamn. I don't know if that's old enough, but that's the only thing I could think of. So, that is Deadstream from 2022. Let's move on to the final cut. Boo-yah. Taglines, I do enjoy this. There is only one, but I think it works, and it's he's dying for followers. I think that works on a couple levels because he probably literally died, and also he just wants his followers back. Not a lot of trivia, but there is there's some good stuff here. The top of the spirit board has Clatu Verita Nicto written on top. Though originating in 1951's The Day the Earth Stood Still, it was later made popular, of course, by the Evil Dead franchise. All the gore and monster effects were done practically. The bulk of the film was shot in 7 days. And this is really funny. The scene where Sean decrees a Photoshop hack job was particularly troublesome to shoot. It took countless wasted takes before the crew realized the GoPro's voice commands were on, and it would hear Photoshop as GoPro stop. Like, that's great. Also, this is under a plot hole heading in IMDb, and this is fucking just so stupid. Sean states the house has been unoccupied and boarded up since the 1950s, yet the doorknobs and several of the furnishings, especially the toilet, are clearly from the modern age and are not from 70 years ago. That is not a plot hole. And
I love a petty goof. That's the pettiest so far.
I think that might be the pettiest one. And I also need people to realize, because in this day and age, I don't think people are aware of what an actual plot hole is. It's not that. It is not that. So if you want me to go into this more, I'll talk about it later. Leave a comment. So this has a rating of 6.4 out of 10 on IMDb. For our purposes on the Nightmare Index, that makes it a 3.2 out of 5. Letterboxd has a 3.3 out of 5, and it has a 92% on the tomato meter with a 75% audience score, which is pretty fucking good if you ask me. What did you give this, Cory?
I gave it a 4.
You gave it a 4. Okie dokie. I also gave it a 4, so that is this year's first Frightmare certified slap. And that puts us at a Nightmare Index of 3.63. So that is actually tied for The Haunting, I believe. I don't know how, when we have a tie for movies, I don't know what exactly I'm going to do yet. It might be alphabetical. It might just be how I'm feeling. I think Deadstream is a stronger movie in my opinion, so it might go above The Haunting, but they are tied. Similar movies according to IMDb, we have Host from 2020, of course, Hell House LLC Origins, Hell House LLC, VHS Halloween, and one of the most criminally underrated found footage movies of all time, Butterfly Kisses. We need to do that at some point because that movie is so good. And then similar movies according to Letterboxd, we have Drag Me to Hell, It Chapter 2, Insidious, Paranormal Activity, and Insidious Chapter 2. Very strange. Let's do some funny reviews before we get the hell out of here. I've got my standard 5.
I've got 5, with one of them being a special guest star
review. Special guest star review. Okay.
So
go ahead.
You want to go first? You want me to go first?
Go ahead.
All right. My first review is a half star from Zoe. Fucking butt ass. I'm actually mad as fuck.
Butt ass. Okay, those are two of the same. Okay, yep, got it. Oh, let's see. 5 stars from Mask Devin emoji. I don't fucking too many emojis. Live action Courage the Cowardly Dog, and that is right on the nose. I agree.
Yep,
with
that's
that.
pretty close. A half star review from Maya Grimley. I really felt that when he covered himself with the blanket in the closet.
Didn't we all? Let's see here. 3 stars from Piping Sky. LMFAO, that ghost gave him the world's first paranormal vasectomy.
A 5 star and a heart from Carbonara. Quote, "Oh, Chrissy is Mildred," unquote. We know, genius.
4 stars from Meg Shields. This entire film is based around the pun demonetize, demon in capitals, and I respect the hell out of that.
This one's hilarious because I have commentary on it.
Ooh.
A 5 star and a heart from Vickers. I wish I can rewatch this movie for the 4th time. Well, Vickers, it's on the internet. You can rewatch it again. You can rewatch it to your heart's content.
3 stars from The Fresh Beef. And the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor goes to Duct Tape. Clap, clap, clap emoji. That is a great double meaning there because it was supporting all of his cameras. I think I'm going to have one of yours. So I'm going to let you read your last 2 because I think we might have one of the
No,
same.
this is my last one.
Oh, okay. What you got?
My last one, a special guest appearance from Eric Cloud, our boy, who has been a feature of this since we started doing these reviews.
Yep.
A 3.5 star and a heart. A found footager with its heart more in Evil Dead 2 than Blair Witch. A real goddamn joy.
All right. I love it. I love hearing a glowing review from our boy Eric Cloud. So mine is a special guest in a different sense. 3.5 stars from Allybug. I'm user Rancid Poo in the live stream chat. Apparently this person was, yeah. That's hilarious. That's pretty cool. So that's going to do it. There we go. If you enjoy the show, please rate and review on your favorite podcast app of choice. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Slasher, Blue Sky, and YouTube at Frightmares Podcast. We are in the middle of a logo change. It is not vastly different, but it will, it's got the skull, it's got the microphone. It's just a slight alteration. My graphic artist or designer has been working on it. So the logo will change, but it is still the same show. Just be on the lookout for it. It's very purple and red and gold. It's a lot of fun. Our email is stayspooky@outlook.com. You can also follow me personally on Letterboxd at Dr. Proctor. Corey, you are
Frightmares Cory.
Booyah. If you'd like to expand your movie podcast listening, check out the Shameless Picture Show, the Dead-Eyed Millennial Film Club, and 1 Week Rental as well. Next week, Gabby and I will be doing House or Houseu from 1977, which I have forgotten to say this on previous episodes, so I will be doing that now. It is streaming on HBO Max and Plex. If you have not seen it, for the love of God, stop what you're doing, go watch it, and check out the episode next week. And until then, stay tuned and
stay spooky.